Hello, everyone. This Sunday night starts the holiday of Yom Kippur. Now, one of the great rabbis said that the word Yom Kippur actually comes from the word Kippurim. It means like Purim. Listen to what the rabbi says, which is quite shocking when you hear it. That Yom Kippurim, which is this Monday, the holiest day of the year, what makes it so holy is that it's like Purim. That's quite surprising, like Purim. Purim seems like a very minor holiday. We get dressed up in masks and we drink. We have a great wild time. Yom Kippur is the holy day of prayer to God. How can we say Yom Kippurim? Yom Kippurim means the day like Purim. What does that mean? So the rabbi explained something so deep and so beautiful. If you understood what Purim was about, you'd understand that how Yom Kippur is really like Purim, and how we need the message of Purim on Yom Kippur. One of the rules of Purim is that you have to drink so much that you don't know the difference between blessed is Haman, blessed is Mordechai, and cursed is Haman. You have to wear masks and costumes. So the truth is, this year, Yom Kippur, we're like Purim. We wear masks. Those are our go-to-public. But the real question you have to ask about Purim, why is Purim a holiday where you have to drink to the point that you don't know the difference between the blessing and curse, the blessing of Mordechai and the curse of Haman? The answer is something so deep and something so true and something that we really need to think about this coming year. What does faith mean? To have faith means not that God will give you what you want. To have faith means that you accept what God gives you. And you have faith that what God is giving you is the best for you. And realize that a lot of times you don't understand it. It may look something very difficult, but really deep down, there's something really great and special. Let's look at the story of Purim. What happened to the story of Purim? The story of Purim, this Jewish people's lives were in the greatest danger any time in history. Why? Because think about the most difficult times under Nazism and communism. There were still Jews living in other parts of the world. But the story of Purim, Achashverosh was in charge of the whole world. And he wanted to wipe out all the Jewish people, all be gone. And what happened in the end? One moment everything looked dark and bleak. They were all going to be wiped out. The next moment everything changed. And we became the most powerful people in the world. What does that teach us? Something so important. That don't think for one moment that you understand how everything is going to work itself out. God has his plans. And it actually says that Purim was in a way greater than even when the Jewish people got the Torah. Because when the Jewish people got the Torah and they accepted the Torah, it's because they had no choice. But here, Purim, all Jews together accepted being Jewish and accepted the Torah. So when you drink and you don't know the difference between blessing and curse, it's here to teach us a very important lesson. What it means to tell us, you don't decide what's a blessing and what's really a curse. This is something that we have to remember. You know, we've all been going through the coronavirus, right? And we have to, people have a lot of concerns. We have to remember there is a God in the world, and God controls everything. And things that may look terrible for us today really could be, a great blessing for us. The problem is we only see this. We don't really understand. It's like driving on the highway and you see traffic, you say, what's going on here? But then when you go in a building and you go on the top floor and you look down and you see there's construction and that highway, there's something else going on. So you understand how the traffic flow is when you have a bird's eye view. But when you're in the traffic, you don't understand what is happening. It's like the person that comes to synagogue for the first time and he notices the gabbai calls certain people up. One person calls up for Kaya, someone else for Levi, someone else for Yisrael, one person on the right, one person on the left, one person in the back. Next week again, he sees calling different people up, and he thinks after a few weeks, he says, he's probably only calling his friends and people that he likes. So he goes over to the Gabbai, what's going on here? Why don't you give to everyone? He says, the problem is you just showed up for 2-3 weeks. I live here my whole life, and I know this person had a baby this week, he needs an aliyah. This person has a bar mitzvah. This person's getting married. This person has a yard site. Everyone has a different reason. So for everyone, I'm giving an aliyah for a different reason. So the same exact thing. We have to have 100% faith that whatever God is doing it for the best for us. And God knows what he's doing. And the year 5781 just started. We only living for X amount of years, but God sees 5,000 years. And that's how we have to look at it. And don't assume because something happened means that nothing else could happen good afterwards. A rabbi was telling me a story. One day he gets a very tragic call from someone that he knows. This couple tried to have kids for 19 years, and finally, after 19 years, they had twins. And they were screaming at the phone, and they said, yesterday, the twins are maybe 2 years old. Yesterday, one of the girls was sick. They rushed to the hospital, and 2 hours later, she was dead. Left the world. I said, look at this. These kids were their whole life. They tried for 19 and a half years. Finally, they had it. Now, the kid was actually 5 years old. They'll never have other kids again. And what kind of tragedy is it? And obviously, he said, the rabbi tells me it was terrible. And he actually spoke at the shiva, and he didn't know what to say. 10 months later, he gets a call. Mazel tov! What happened? They had another baby. Imagine. For 19 years, she couldn't get pregnant. They had to run to all the doctors. Then she had twins. After this tragedy, she became pregnant naturally right away. Go figure. Go understand. Here we think there's no way she'll have another kid. God has his plans. God has his reasons. And this ties in very well to Yom Kippur. This is why we say Yom Kippur is like Purim. Just like Purim, we didn't know the difference. One moment everything looks dark and the worst. Next moment everything is blessing. Same thing comes Yom Kippur. We're standing in synagogue Yom Kippur, and we think about asking God for forgiveness, all the terrible things that we did, or we could have done things better. And we feel like, you know what? We're a lost case. Again, we're showing up Yom Kippur with all those, situations. So Purim teaches us, don't differentiate between the blessings and the curses. What does that mean? Even the things that we fall is part of our life. It's like a child. A child falls is in order for the child to get back up. So even the things that we fell, it's in order for us to get back up. So just like Purim, Torah tells us don't focus on the blessings and the curses. Just do your thing. The same thing is Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, we look back at the past year. We have to have faith in God. And don't worry about the curses in your life, the blessings in your life. Just remember God is always with us and giving us what we need to fulfill our life. We even think about the last 6-7 months, how difficult it was and how many lives were lost and people lost their job. But also there was a lot of blessings, a lot of beautiful moments. I just read this unbelievable story. This woman that was a widow, and every year she goes to her kids for the Seder. But this year, Pesach, she lived in New York. She couldn't go to her kids for the Seder. Obviously, everyone had to be alone. The day of Pesach, her neighbor, they lived in a building, her neighbor said, obviously we can't invite you to our Seder because of Corona, but we're willing to open our door, and we'll put our table by our door, you put your table by your door, so I guess we're in the same hallway, we can hear each other. And so she was able to participate in Seder. That, after Pesach, she calls her kids and says, this was the most amazing Seder. Even though I missed being with you, but the songs that they sang was exactly the songs that we sing at our Seder. Everyone has their own tradition. And the songs and the way we did it was so beautiful, I felt like I was once again with Dad during the Seder. I never realized our neighbors have the same traditions and customs. So the son, with tears in the eyes, said, I want to tell you, this neighbor called me a few weeks before Pesach and said, we're going to invite your mother. But I wanted to feel so comfortable, so teach me all the songs that you sing. Tell me all the traditions you have in your Seder. I wanted her to feel like she's at home. Wow. This is not just inviting someone. This is making sure that someone's comfortable and is part of their family. There's so many beautiful stories this way of what happened this past year. So many beautiful things. And we have to do the same thing. So this year we have to ask God to give us all the blessings that we need to be able to fulfill your mission. When we ask for health, It's not just because we want to be healthy and be able to go jogging, climb mountains. We ask for health because we want to be able to serve God and fulfill our mission in life. We ask for making a good living. It's not just to have money in the bank, it's to be able to give charity and help great causes. We ask for nachas of our children. It's not just to have nachas, be able to, in order for us to fulfill our mission, we need to have our children go in the right footsteps. So we have to remember, one day we're going to look back at 2020, our children and grandchildren are going to ask us, not what 2020 did to us, what did we do in 2020? So this year, Yom Kippur, let it be like Purim. Let us look and stop focusing what we think is a blessing, what's a curse. Let's have the complete faith in God and trust in God that He's going to give us what we need, and then we will fulfill our mission, what we need to in the world. I want to bless you all with a gemach simcha tova, with revealed good for everyone, with real blessings, so we could fulfill, each one of us, our mission in our life. Shabbat Shalom.